Maldita sea! Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I recently got home from one of my long stints on the road filming for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and to my surprise, I had a package waiting from me from Dynamic Discs. And when I popped it open, I was very happy to see they sent me two of the discs that I've been seeing so much hype about online. The Motive and the Treason. Both of these are supposed to be understable, easy to throw discs, pretty much for any type of arm speed.
Oh, pretty! Wow, I'm putting that in my bag, I think.
So while I have some time at home, I figured I'd come out to the field, test these two guys out, and compare them to other discs that have similar flight numbers. So the Treason, having a -3 turn and a 1 fade as a 10 speed, it's kind of hard to find a 10 speed that has those exact numbers that I have. But I do throw the Hatchet from Westside Discs. It's supposed to have a little less turn and is a little bit slower. And I have the Maya from Infinite Discs, which is a tick faster, but it's supposed to have the same amount of turn as the Treason. To compare against the Motive, I do have a Diamonds, but I think it's in my daughter's disc golf bag at the moment. I'm going to be comparing that to my seasoned Underworld, which is a tick slower, and the Vortex from DGA, which also has a -3-1, but is also 1 speed slower. Now, both of these are in premium plastics, as are the other two that I'm comparing against Treason. Come out here to an open field with a little bit of wind to get an idea of how these two discs are going to react to these types of conditions. Plan is I want to do a flat throw, a hyzer throw, and hyzer throw with each one. And then I'm going to take it to some actual disc golf holes and see how they actually compare in a real world scenario. It's also looking like it's going to rain on us at any moment, so I should probably stop yapping and get to throwing. Let's get into it. You know what time it is. It's time to fling some frisbees. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of what the disc actually looked like, the party line, all that stuff at some point. But like I said, with this weather coming, I want to get these throws out of the way and get to that stuff after. So let's set a baseline. We'll start with the Underworld. We've got a little bit of head left to right now. Little low release, but you saw Underworld do what it does, just drifting right the whole time. Vortex. Wow. Vortex really carried to the right. And these are flat throws. I'm gonna try to throw the Motive flat as I threw those two. Oh, that is a fantastic flight. Wow, that was pretty easy distance. All right, let's jump into the Treason's comparisons. Let's start with the Hatchet. Hatchet moving right. Might have been a touch of anhyzer on that. I'm not overpowering these, I'm just trying to get a nice smooth swing. The Maya, a little faster. Yeah. Oh, that finished. The wind just shifted as I threw that. So it just became a tail right to left, which is generally gonna make the disc finish a little more. And flat throw with the Treason. I actually threw that with a touch of hyzer. It flipped and started to turn, but then it kind of forced back over. Probably a lot to do with that wind. The Motive, which is the 8 speed, went as far as the 11 speed after getting that big sweeping turn to the right. Now we're gonna go anhyzer on all 6 discs and see how they respond. We've got a head left to right again. Same order, let's start with the Underworld. That's gonna get smacked right down, yeah. It's gonna be hard to kind of determine the length of these because this wind is just gonna knock these right down. Yeah, that one started turning and got shoved down, so not gonna be the best representation. We've had wind all week, so I've been trying to get this video done, but so I'm doing my best here, guys. I threw that one a little higher and flatter. So I felt like if I put that on the full anhyzer like the other two, it was just gonna burn right over. Hatchet. like that. Yeah, these are all just getting right to the ground. Didn't quite get over on that one. Nose is slightly up, so it fought out. Oh, the wind is kind of calmed here, so maybe we'll get an actual representation of the flight here. Yes. Yes. Held, then at the end just kind of fought back out. Didn't give it quite the drastic angle, but definitely gave it some turn angle. Held it all the way to the end and then just kind of fought back over to flat. That was very nice.
They're nice.
So I'm gonna grab those. We're gonna do one more set of throws. I'm gonna throw them on Slightheiser, see how they react to that. And then we're gonna take it out to the course, which I might do on a different day because this wind and these conditions aren't ideal. One last set of throws. Let's see how they do on Heiser. I'm gonna start with the Maya. Wind is kind of shifted right to left, so it just changed again. This is absolutely just swirling wind at this point, and now there is no wind. Still flips up because it is a very understable disc, even though I threw that super low. That's why I love the hatchet. You can manipulate the angles on that disc so well. It kind of stood up and pushed and went forward. Yeah. Didn't want to flip over, just kind of rode that hyzer, got some tip up, pushed. That's a workable disc. All right, let's go Vortex. Wow, that was steep hyzer and it still flipped up to flat. Didn't turn though. A net straight flight, Underworld. I would expect a similar flight from this. Now, I haven't mentioned it yet, but obviously with the Motive and the Treason being released now across pretty much all major retailers, you can go over to InfiniteDisc.com, who has sponsored me for the 2025 season. Thank you, Infinite. And get your hands on any of the discs that you see me throwing here. Yep, put it on even steeper hyzer, and it's still flipped up all the way to flat. The wind is shifted. Got a slight tail left to right, more left to right than tail, so this might help it actually stay on hyzer, because I think no matter how much hyzer I put on this, it's still going to want to tip up and ride to the right. Oh, it wanted to, but that right to left didn't let it get all the way over. That was more the product of this right to left, keeping it from tipping all the way over and going right. All right, so let's get a closer look at these two discs compared. So let's take a look at the Motive and the Treason. Motive, slower of the two molds. See the wing here kind of bends down slightly. Kind of have this curve here on the bottom. Pretty neutral angle here. Parting line, relatively neutral. Treason, similar dip to the wing here. Again, neutral on the bottom. Not much of an aggressive angle, which makes you think it's definitely going to fly understable. Parting line, neutral to high on this one. So it should be pretty true to its flight numbers. Let's compare the Vortex to the Motive. It looks pretty similar. Again, Vortex is just one speed slower. Doesn't quite have the same amount of drop on the wing here. The Underworld, I think the Underworld compares very closely. The Treason, which is the 10 speed compared to the Maya. The Maya is slightly thinner on its wing, and it is an 11 speed. Maya not as thick here. This entire bottom of the wing is just slightly thinner overall. There's more mass here on the shoulder of the Treason, which also makes it a little easier to grip onto just based on the profile. And then the hatchet itself has a higher shoulder here. But other than that, they're pretty similar, even though the hatchet is one speed slower and one tick more stable, coming in at a -2.1 versus a -3.1 of the Treason. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what both discs actually perform like. I'm interested to definitely try these on an actual course, and I think going over to John Reed Memorial will give me better options to showcase and highlight what both discs can actually do. So let's hop in the magic time machine. Welcome to John Reed Memorial here at Matthews Park. One of the first courses that I learned to play disc golf on, named after one of our former presidents of the Walton Disc Golf Club, John Reed. There's a couple of holes out here that I think will play well to the Treason and the Motive, so I figured I'd bring you guys out and start here on hole 2. This is a par 3, uphill 262 feet. Mandatory on the left basket straight up the gut. You've got a hyzer option up the right hand side, and you've got a flip up option right up the gut. So after testing these out in the field, I think the two closest in line to these particular flights are going to be the Hatchet for the Treason, and the Underworld compares pretty favorably to the Motive. So just based on the on-field testing that we did before, as a baseline, we're going to throw the Hatchet and the Underworld on the straight line and the hyzer line and see how they compare to the Treason and the Motive. Try to go right up the middle with the hyzer flip line. A little bit of nose up. This is quite a significant climb uphill. It doesn't really show as much on camera. Let's go hyzer line with the Hatchet. And that flew like a hatchet. I overcompensated for the height. Now that we've learned nothing from that, let's go ahead and try the Motive. Wow, that's a lot of turn. Uphill turn. And fought back at the end. I didn't really throw that so hard as much as it was kind of almost a fan grip type throw. Let's go Treason. Oh, that's great. Didn't quite get all the way over because it's not that stable of a finish, obviously. But that subtle flip up while just kind of getting flat and pushing is a flight that I know a lot of beginners and even intermediate players are looking for. That was good. All right, Hatchet. Past the basket as you would expect, but I'm also 80 feet right of it. Treason, circle 2. On this right-hand side, just past the pin. Motive, pretty much pin high. About 38 feet or so. Really effortless throw. Put the Underworld over here about close to 40 feet short left. Not a great throw. Made the correction on the other 2 discs. And I'm starting to get a better real-world feel just off of this first hole. Let's move on to another one that I think these 2 discs will shine on. Even having thrown the Motive in the field, it still surprises me how much effortless glide it gets. With that understability, it just wants to stay in the air, kind of pushing to the right, which again, for lower arm speeds, the less effort you can put into a disc and get max glide out of it, I think that's something we all want, regardless of your skill level. Hole 4 here at JRM is a par 3. It's a turnover. The tee pad is actually over to my left, but you can't see the basket from there. But turnover up this line, moving left to right, forehand works well. There's also a hyzer gap up the right-hand side now that the trees come down, which makes it more accessible to kind of push this right side and have a little bit of finish, get you to the target. Only plays at 255, but there's always some kind of wind here kind of making this a bit more tricky of a shot than you would think. I'm going to go turnover with the Motive. I think I might try a very subtle flip-up forehand with the Treason and see how it holds up to that, especially with a little bit of wind. So normally I'm throwing a pretty firm putter at this, maybe a soft mid-range, but there have been times where you're not clicking, so you kind of move up in speed to help get you there. And I think this Motive, I can just throw it like 50% power and get the glide and turn to just get it there. I don't think I have to do much in terms of controlling the angle. If I can throw this flat and just have it move to the right, that just helps to take so much guesswork out of the game, which is always a big, big bonus. Like that. Oh, look at that glide. It's just holding the turn. Oh my gosh. Damn, it looks like it's bullseye. I barely threw that thing. All right, let's try. This is gonna be tricky. A forehand, first of the day, with a flippy disc. Hopefully the speed will help to correct the flight here. A little bit of tailwind left to right. Yeah, I just barely threw it. That left to right's gonna help carry it back over. That's not bad. There's definitely some versatility to these discs. That motive though, if you're throwing a Rolo from Innova, where you just kind of throw it on any angle, it's going to move right, and then you just kind of have to adjust the speed and the angle slightly, and it just does all the right hand for you. The first couple throws, it's like a faster Rolo, which is like a cheat code or a get out of jail free card, especially if you're not big in the forehands. Really, really good results. Treason, I was a little afraid to throw it harder, so it ended up here, which is, I don't know, 17 feet or so. There's that wind I was telling you about. The motive though, bullseye. Absolute bullseye. In some wind, just threw pretty much flat and let it tip over softly with very little effort out of the hand. Let's move on to a longer hole, or maybe I can throw a roller. I haven't really been keeping score on these two discs because I didn't want it to be a versus video. This is more of a get to know video. But so far the motive has birdied the first two holes. The Treason, par. I should have made that last putt if I had my regular putter, so. I will say so far, I believe the negative 3-1 on the motive a lot more than I believe the negative 3-1 on the Treason. A little bit of weird wind for this one to maybe throw a roller on hole 10, but this is one of my favorites out here. Although it's in one of the short pins, which I don't love, but hole 10, right now currently playing as a par 3 at the 386 foot position on the right-hand side past the telephone pole. The grass has kind of been cut, but not really. A roller might work. I'm gonna try to get over. I think I'm gonna throw my roller disc first to see if there's actually any chance of getting the motive to roll, because I don't just want to throw a bad shot for the sake of throwing a bad shot. So for the baseline, I'm going to try to roll my Centurion, parachute penguin. Oh, that grass is eating it up immediately. But it fought down there, so let's see if we can get the motive to do something similar. Regardless, I think I might grab it and throw another air shot with it, but let's see if it'll roll. Oh, that's too far. Oh, that's getting shoved to the right. Yeah, that's a bad roller. There's also like a left to right that just kicked in that just shoved that to the right. Left to right might help this air shot though, that we're gonna do with this Treason. There's the turn, but there it's getting shoved to the right. Not great wind for these shots. Let's maybe go down there, grab them, see if we can make the right adjustment. The wind has kind of calmed down a bit. And it looks like we have a very subtle right to left tailwind, which I think is going to help the motive. Oh, I didn't throw it at the actual tree line. Oh, I feel like I could throw that thing 500 feet if I get the right angle, which obviously I can't. Good Treason. Yeah, and there's, see, that's the part where I don't believe that's a negative 3-1. If I throw this hatchet, which is a negative 2-1 flat, it goes right in the same spot. So I just don't know how to disc golf, and none of this is getting shown. Of course, there's a lot of factors to that. It's a new disc. I haven't really thrown it much besides in an open field. And it could just be a case where I'm expecting that disc to do something that I'm not able to replicate consistently. I'm not giving up on the Treason yet. I think it's absolutely more thrower inconsistencies than disc inconsistencies. So even with hitting that late tree, motive is still at circle 2. I have no doubt I would have been well inside of circle 1. Well, fall is definitely in the air, as you can tell from hole 13 out here at JRM. It's in the short position to the left. We're just going to ignore that, basically. There's a long straight position that goes all the way down this hallway as a par 4. And I just want to throw this shot because I think these two discs, I think, are kind of really well suited for shot shaping through a tunnel like this. Let's try the motive first. I put too much hyzer on it, but it still got down that gap. And if that was my actual tee shot for this par 4, I'd be pretty happy with that. Treason. I think I can hit this a little flatter based on the other throws and just get a little bit of right hand drift. Didn't drift, man. Just kind of held straight and finished. Huh. Again, it's just not what I think it is. Again, for comparison, I'm gonna throw the hatchet 1 speed slower and a tick less understable according to the numbers. Yeah, that just holds. See that little bit of subtle right turn and then just kind of hold straight. That's more of what I thought the Treason was gonna do. That extra tick of speed though, I think I'm throwing it like it's a hatchet, but I think I need to throw it more like it's a trespass. Let's go motive one more time. Maybe a little less hyzer this time. Yeah, get around that tree and then fade back. That's fantastic. That motive is just, it takes so much of the work out of the throw. You just point it on the angle, let it tip up and drift right. It's just, that is such a friendly beginner disc and a really friendly intermediate disc. And obviously for advanced players, to get a crazy right hand turn or an easy snap roller, it's gonna do a lot. I'm really enjoying that one. I don't like how that went for the Treason. I feel like I didn't represent it properly. Now, clearly I'm not a professional. I filmed the best professionals in the world, but none of that rubs off on me, obviously. So I came back to Heritage Pines and I'm gonna try it one more time on just a couple of holes to see if I can't decently throw this disc, because the disc flies great. When I threw it in the field to compare to the other molds, I got a gist of what it could do. Let's give it one more shot. Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, I'm doing this for you, buddy, because you sent this to me, so I want to try to represent as best as I can. Hole 1, par 3, 345 feet, tunnel shot, slight left-hand finish at the end. Get all the way there and push. All right, better. Hit a late tree with that tree, son.
Because I will hit a tree, son.
Tree, son.
I had to. If you haven't watched that video yet with Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze and the crew trying out the Treason, it's worth the watch. And every time I see the Treason now, I want to say, tree, son. Hit a late tree, but I'm still well inside the circle. Easy. So easy. Lastly, one of my favorite holes in disc golf, hole 12 out here at Heritage Pines, a straight tunnel shot, 310 feet right down the gut. Plays probably closer to about 320, 325, lined with all these beautiful pine trees left and right. So let's see if the Treason is up for the task here. Like that. All the way down there. Good tree at the end, kept it close. So Treason is, as I thought, not quite the -3-1 for me. If you've tried the Treason and you're getting a lot of turn out of it, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I just got the one disc. It's maybe that particular run isn't quite as understable as some of the other ones, because I am throwing them with some considerable pace and it's still not getting that drastic -3-1. It's getting like a -1, 1.5, 1. Still a great flight though. And on a shot like this on hole 12, where you can get like a nice tight left to right turn versus a big drifting right to left or left to right, that's going to keep you in the fairway longer, give you a better chance of scoring well on a hole like this. And who doesn't want to score well in the woods? Late tree stopped it from flaring all the way over to the left. Still got an in the circle look, easy. So easy. Well, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. My first look and review of the Treason and the Motive. Both very useful discs. I think if you're a beginner, you're out there playing MA4, MA3, MA2, I think the Motive is gonna unlock a lot of really cool shot shapes for you. It works well for rollers, works well for big turnovers, flip up to straight, flip up to turn, can do a lot of things. The Treason, if you're more intermediate and even advanced, I think you can get a lot of right-hand turn on this disc. You can get some flip-up straight shots. You can carve up some tunnels like I did here on 12 and on 1. Just gives you good variety. Even works well on forehand. It holds up well enough. At least this one does. Again, maybe I just got one of the more stable ones. So if you've tried the Treason and yours gets more turn, let me know about it in the comments. I'm absolutely down to try another one of these that's going to get that right-hand turn, that -3-1. I think at this speed, that could be really useful, especially in courses like this. Big thank you to the team over at Dynamic Disc for sending me out these molds. Check out the Treason and the Motive over at dynamicdisc.com. You can also get your hands on them over at infinitedisc.com. Thanks so much for coming along, guys. Hope you enjoyed your peek at these 2 new molds. It's a nice day out, so I think I'm going to keep getting in some reps while I'm out here. I hope it's nice where you are and you have the chance to get out there and fling some frisbees. I'll see you in the next one. With that, Treason. Until right now. Come on!